here. I'll give me a second to go over the information. No sound. All right, looks like we're live. Thank you, everybody, for sticking with us with the audio issues. We apologize for that. Don't worry, I'll go through all the information right from the top so that way everybody is in the know in terms of what's happening with the weather today. I'm meteorologist Thomas Patrick. Thanks for joining us on Facebook, YouTube, as well as our website. Again, apologies for the audio issues right at the top of this video, but we got that all sorted out behind the scenes. So thanks to our crew back there, including Adam and Ian, who are working alongside me for this hour. It's 2:44 right now on this Labor Day Monday. And again, the weather is such a huge part of what's going on. And of course, if you have any questions, I got the Facebook feed pulled up on my computer in front of me. So please make sure to drop some questions. We'll try to get through some of those as well. But there's a whole lot of issues going on with the weather, and it's all related to the winds right now. And those wind speeds upwards of 60 miles per hour. We're seeing damage. We're seeing blowing dust storms. And of course, we're seeing a few new wildfires in the inland Northwest as well. So I'm going to try to cover as much as I can in this live video, which should take about 15 to 20 minutes before we get ready for our special newscast at 4 o'clock on KREM 2 News as well. Of course, a whole lot of people working behind the scenes to get a lot of this information confirmed for our 4 o'clock newscast, but I can be as upfront as I can with the weather side of things as of right now. So behind me, you have the high wind warnings. That is the gold shaded area for central Washington all the way up through the Okanagan Valley and in the Omak area. Those are for wind speeds upwards of 60 miles per hour through 8 o'clock tonight. The other areas in that light tan coloring, those are wind advisories. That includes the Spokane area as well as far north Idaho and the Palouse as well. Wind speeds closer to the 45 to 50 mile per hour range, but certainly would not be surprised to see wind gusts possibly as strong as 60 miles per hour as well. Here are the highest wind speeds that we've recorded so far today. Sandpoint leading the way with a 54 mile per hour wind gust recorded. Spokane about 44, 45 miles per hour, and even Moses Lake close to 48 or even 50 miles per hour if you want to do a little bit of rounding there. These winds can just first and foremost cause damage themselves, including tree damage as well as power line damage. We saw that via this photo from Post Falls this morning of a tree that got uprooted, fell on a fencing here, but thankfully only the fencing in this particular case was damaged, not the home and certainly not any people, and that's good news there. Do make sure that when it is this windy, just try to stay clear of windows or any areas that might be close to trees, just to keep yourself safe if you are hunkered down inside on this Labor Day Monday. But in addition to the winds, that's creating other weather issues as well. And blowing dust and dust storms is one of those such issues. I know it might not be the easiest graphic to read here, but all the solid shades of the coloring, that is the alerts coming down from the National Weather Service, including a blowing dust advisory, that also into 8 o'clock. That coincides with the high wind warnings and the wind advisories. And in the orange shaded area, which I will try to highlight again, and if it's hard to see the color differentiation on the screen, I'm going to outline it as well, just in this white line, including Adams and Whitman County, from Ritzville, Washtuckna, Colfax, and the Rosalia areas, all under this dust storm warning, which is the heightened category of this kind of alert. Law enforcement are already reporting low visibilities due to dust storms, not unlike what we would see during a blizzard situation, except instead of snow, it's just dust this time around. But same effect with how much dust there is. We're seeing low visibilities on the roadways. A lot of the highways out here, especially if there's not many trees, those open aired areas, those are seeing the lowest visibilities and the slowest speeds on the road because everyone's trying to be as cautious as possible, which is certainly what we want to see. If you encounter these low visibilities, do make sure to turn your headlights on and slow down. Try to make yourself visible to everybody else that might be on the roadways as well. There was one picture that really caught my eye from a viewer. His name is Jason, out in the COULEE City and Ephrata areas at, this is not nighttime, 11:30 a.m., almost the lunch hour, and the dust so horrific at this stage that it's just hard to see. You can maybe see the tree outlined on the left side of the screen right here, but the rest of this is just dust in the middle of this dust storm. So very scary situation. I think some people that may have lived in Arizona or have experienced bad dust storms like that, this is pretty much a very similar situation to what we have going on right now. So no wonder there are traffic jams and road closures at this moment. In fact, we just gotten from WashDOT within the last hour or two a list of some closures that are in effect right now. I'm going to go through those. Here's what's closed as of 1 o'clock right now. I-90 from Vantage, the Grant County line, all the way to Ritzville, that is closed. So you cannot go on I-90 right now. So there's going to be no traveling west and east across the state because the dust storms have been so bad. US 395 from Ritzville to State Route 26. Also US 2 from State Routes 172 to State Route 17. Heard a lot of people saying that that was particularly bad. There may be accidents in these areas as well, so you're not just going to want to avoid these areas, but they are closed to travel right now. Also, State Routes 120 or 172 and 17 are closed in their entireties as well. So make sure to, if you really don't have to do any kind of traveling today, we certainly advise that you pretty much just stay home and hunker down because the winds and the roads and the dust storms are, of course, that bad. That is pretty much the primary impact, but a lot of people also see new wildfires spark up as well. And with this kind of weather conditions that we're under right now in the inland northwest, the dry and the windy conditions particularly, we're starting to see these wildfires grow in size very, very quickly, and we've been getting those reports all days today. Critical fire danger out there. Red flag warnings also in effect until 8 o'clock tonight, coinciding with those strong winds as well. And here's what's almost really scary about this. It's just we are seeing the wildfire smoke via our Doppler radar imagery right now. And I start over Whitman County, and while this usually is rain and we use this to track rain, it's not moving anywhere like a shower or a cloud would. Instead, it's pluming up from a single point, those points being a wildfire. And we're working to get a lot of these fires confirmed as well. So a lot of people seeing this near the Highway 195, just near the Rosalia area as well. So it looks like there is a wildfire ongoing right there. And there's probably one just south as well. I can pick out those 2 points just based on the radar. When you move over to Lincoln County near the Davenport area, I've gotten many reports of a wildfire that ignited earlier today, that also visible on our radar imagery here. And as we keep sliding northward, you can even pick out of, I believe this is Ferry County. Looks like there's 2 areas. Looks like there's 2 areas of wildfires kind of here and here in the mountainous areas. And we also got lots of reports from early this morning of a wildfire just south of Omak and in Okanogan County. So all these areas we can track via Doppler radar. But of course, if there are any evacuation warnings or orders for your area, you're going to want to make sure to get out. Make sure to keep your phone battery, all of your emergency kit stuff, with water and food and blankets and that kind of stuff. Make sure that's all ready and handy just in case. We're always prepared for the worst case scenario, and even though we are always hoping for the best for these areas, the firefighters have a big task ahead of them today. Again, especially with the winds driving a lot of these fires to exhibit aggressive behavior as of this hour. So we're working to confirm a lot of these fires just from the ground and with our emergency managers outside, but we're going to have the latest on those later tonight on our newscast, special newscast coming up at KREM 2 News at 4 o'clock as well. So that's kind of the latest on the fires. Got a couple images to show you. This one out of Okanogan County. You can see not just the plumes of dust, but this is very, very close in Zach's case here. We thank him for taking this photo and video. Remember, if you can send us videos safely, please make sure to do that. We would love to see that, so that way we can correlate what we're seeing, not just on radar, but through our emergency managers, but we can actually visually storytell how important these wildfires are or how dangerous they are for some people. This was a look at the scene earlier this morning out of Okanogan County, a very big wildfire in that region. It looks like there's even more that are starting to spark up as well. And this is just kind of the latest. When you look at the big picture, there is just kind of this creamy white of wildfire smoke across the region, and we have seen reductions in air quality as well. When I last checked, Spokane's air quality was listed as unhealthy. That's the red stage there with an AQI of 153. That actually had improved from the hour before, where it was all the way down to 198, which is very close to the very unhealthy category. I do think with the wildfires, for the most part, being to the west and the south of the Spokane area, I do not think our air quality is going to get much worse than this, but areas in the Palouse and south of town and towards the Tri-Cities could see worse air quality because that's the direction the winds are coming from, generally out of the north and east to the south and west. That's what we have right now, and I'm actually going to check the latest air quality from Spokane Regional Clean Air It did improve yet again. We are now in the orange category, unhealthy for some groups. So looks like our air quality is improving. The wind's trying to push away some of that wildfire smoke at this hour, but it did dip into that unhealthy category for just a little bit earlier today. One more note, and then I'm going to take some questions very quickly, try to wrap this up before the 3 o'clock hour here. All this is because we have a huge, just massive cold front that's dropping in from the north. In fact, this is a very, very powerful system. You may have seen from some national outlets that Denver is going to go from like 90 degrees to snow within 24 to 36 hours. Our temperature hit isn't going to be quite that extreme, but we are getting the worst of the wind energy out of the system, especially as it is driving in from the north. So all of this is coming in from Canada, very cold polar air mass dropping into the area, causing all the wind and wind concerns that go along with that. So if you are just joining us, I'm meteorologist Thomas Patrick, just broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, as well as our website all simultaneously. I'm going to take a couple questions now, but yeah, as you may know, the wind obviously just an enormous factor, not just for a weather standpoint, just from an impact standpoint, as well as we're seeing the travel concerns, the blowing dust, as well as the new wildfires as well. So I'm going to look at some of the comments now that I've kind of gone through a debrief stage, if you will. A lot of, I-90 has extremely low visibility in a lot of those areas, and there are some road closures as well. I-90 from Ritzville all the way to Vantage is closed right now, I believe in both directions, but I will double check that information as well. Let's see what else we got here. Any updates on the Blanchard fire? For the wildfire updates, I certainly encourage everybody to tune back into our broadcast at 4 o'clock at KREM 2 News. Our producers and reporters and investigators all behind the scene, which are in the newsroom to my left, they are working on the wildfire information as I speak. So I'm not getting fed all the wildfire information live in the Weather Center. They're working on that, and that's going to be all presented in our newscast at 4 o'clock tonight. But that is, of course, a very good question with all the wildfires that are sparking up and growing across our area this morning. So yeah, in terms of wildfires, I just have to defer to my producers, anchors, reporters on all that information. That's coming up in just about an hour's time. Again, KREM 2 News at 4 o'clock. It's not on the TV guide. We were not intended to have a 4 o'clock newscast for today because we're usually pretty short-staffed on holidays, but we got some extra people in, and we are doing a broadcast at 4 o'clock pretty much just on the wildfires and the weather conditions across the area. So that is a special newscast coming up at 4 o'clock tonight on that. Let's see here. Carrie says, me and my 12-year-old are staying up in Ephrata and not coming home to Spokane like we planned to. That is a very good idea. Yeah, if you can stay put, if you had plans, of course, Labor Day being a big travel day, not just here, but really across the nation. A lot of us trying to see some of our family members across the region. If you can, just hunker down for an extra day or even a couple extra hours. That is very much recommended right now because, again, these winds looking pretty bad. And I'm glad you mentioned Ephrata because we did have one of the, we had a viewer photo from not just this morning, but almost the lunch hour overall. The dust storm between COULEE City and Ephrata, so very bad. In fact, I know the reflection almost just looks pitch black out there, but it doesn't look very much better even when we take it full screen. Thank you, Ian, for that. Okay, I just got handed information about, let's see here. Oh, let's go through some of the wildfire information. So this did just come in from my digital producer, Ian Smay. So we thank him for his hard work behind the scenes. They have 3 pages of stuff here. So on the Blanchard fire, and here, I'll just push the graphics over here so you're not staring at a dark screen here. For the Blanchard fire in Idaho, fire crews are advising people in the area of Hunter Road near Blanchard, Idaho to be prepared to evacuate due to that brush fire. According to the Bonners County Sheriff's Office, fire crews have asked for residents in the area of Hunter Road to be ready to evacuate. So that sounds like it could be a level 2 evacuation. Just be ready to go at a moment's notice. I'm just panning the radar up to see if I can see that fire. I'm not 100% sure, but that was the latest on the Blanchard fire. So those near Hunter Road, please be prepared to evacuate. For the Colfax fire, down in Whitman County, State resources have been mobilized. According to the Washington State Patrol, state resources are moving to assist local fire crews for the Colfax fire, which is burning grass, timber, wheat, and urban landscapes. The fire is currently estimated between 500 and 1,000 acres. It started at 10:38 a.m. this morning. It's currently threatening the city of Colfax, the port of Whitman Business Air Center Airport, and multiple crops and infrastructure. Level 3 evacuations are in place, which means you need to leave immediately. Make sure to check with your local emergency manager officials. I'm sure if you are in that level 3 evacuation, you probably got a knock on your door already saying that you have to get out of that area. So that is the Colfax fire. Let's zoom into that area. It looks like that would be the fire that is closer to Colfax itself. The winds are out of the north and east, so a lot of the smoke trails are getting blown to the southwest, but with that being so close to the region, please make sure to listen to your emergency managers, and if they say to get out of that area, please do right now. We also have the Whitney fire. The Whitney fire near Davenport is burning 600 acres of timber, brush, grass, and crops. Level 2 evacuations are in place for 100 homes in that area. State mobilization has been requested according to DNR. So that was the Davenport fire, or the fire near Davenport, I should say. So this would very much be on our radar imagery is right here as I try to draw the line. So again, winds are out of the northeast quite strong, probably up to 40, 45 miles per hour or even stronger, especially in some of those planed areas. So again, if you are under a level 2 evacuation, please get your emergency kit ready to go so that if law enforcement comes knocking on your door, you got to get out of there if those evacuations get upgraded. And then we have one more. It's the Chelan County fire. Fire near Chelan County has led to multiple evacuation orders. Apple Acre Roads, Howard's Flats north to Antoine Creek intersection, and all spur roads are under a level 3 evacuation. Folsom Hollow Road and Brownsfield Road are also under level 3 evacuations there. Then there's a list of level 2 evacuations and level 1 evacuations that are surrounding those areas. So those are the latest on the wildfires. And again, for the Blanchard, Idaho fire, the latest is that people are advising people near Hunter Road to be prepared to evacuate. That is likely a level 2 evacuation where you might have to leave at a moment's notice. So that is the latest on the wildfires that was just handed to me. We will, of course, have a new script and new updates coming up at KREM 2 News at 4 o'clock. I'm going to look through some more comments over on Facebook as well. Any roads that are open from Washtenaw to I-90. Let's take a look at that at the map here, because those are areas that fall under the blowing dust advisory. In fact, that's probably the worst area right now, especially between Washtenaw and Ritzville. Highway 395, that is closed, so I know that for sure. This is probably a situation where most of these roads are likely closed at this hour, just because the visibility situation is that bad. And it is unclear how many accidents there have been in these areas throughout the afternoon hours today, but we know that WashDOT has at least confirmed a few accidents, just not remembering those off the top of my head at this moment, but just because of that and because of the blowing dust situation and the winds themselves, I think it is certainly a lot safer for everybody in these areas to just kind of take it easy, just hunker down for a couple hours, because it can be a very dangerous situation. And you don't want to put yourself in a situation that could be risky. I know that there might be some antsiness to try to get back home or back to Spokane or back to wherever your home is, but with conditions this bad, it really is best to pretty much just treat it like a blizzard, just minus the slippery roads. But if the visibilities are such low, it might be hard to see if there are cars ahead of you, if there might be an accident ahead, or if there are other emergency vehicles on the road, or if there's even down power lines. We've seen that with some of these stronger wind days in the past as well. So my advice is definitely to just hunker down. If the roads are closed, they're closed for a reason. That much is very much for sure. Let's see here. The live feed on the app has no sound. We are just trying to, we're working through a few audio issues, but it sounds like we at least have good audio through Facebook and YouTube at this moment. We also have Mandolin south of Rosalia. They are evacuating now. Yeah, I heard about that as well. I believe I had an image of that as well. But again, let's just take a look at some of the more wildfires, and then we'll quickly wrap things up as we are getting ready for our 4 o'clock newscast. I use Doppler radar at this moment to really pinpoint where some of these wildfires are because they are visible at this moment. So let's highlight those one more time. Looks like there is one near the Rosalia area. I believe that would also be Mandolin, as it's called, a town that I might be unfamiliar with just off the top of my head. But yeah, if you are close to these wildfires, please take things very, very carefully. There's also one near Colfax as well. We have that confirmed. There's the Whitney fire that is near the Davenport area. Looks like all of these fires have some levels of evacuations there. There's a Blanchard fire in North Idaho. That one not as visible. It might be this tail of radar returns right here, but I'm unsure of the exact location of that fire. But we do have the Blanchard fire in North Idaho confirmed. There are evacuations there. And of course, there's the one in Okanagan County as well, south of Omak. So those are all the wildfires that we can at least see via our Doppler radar imagery. And of course, the winds are going to remain to be strong through about 8 o'clock this evening. Wind gusts between 45 to 60 miles per hour across pretty much the entirety of the inland Northwest. After 8 o'clock, those wind speeds will start to diminish. It will stay somewhat breezy through midnight tonight. Tomorrow will be a much calmer day. With that, going to wrap things up. I want to thank everybody for tuning in over on Facebook, YouTube, as well as our website. I'm meteorologist Thomas Patrick. Thanks for trusting me with the weather forecast and the latest information as well. It certainly means a lot to me personally, and it means a lot to be able to keep everybody informed and safe when it comes to this kind of nasty weather and all the implications that come along with that. So I really thank you all for tuning in. You can, of course, follow me over on Facebook and Twitter as well. You can always search Meteorologist Thomas Patrick. I also go by the handle at Thomas Patrick WX. WX standing for weather, of course. So you'll get lots more information just in between the newscast and sprinkled throughout the day. So I'm going to focus in on that and focus in on our 4 o'clock newscast. So again, please join us over at KREM 2 News at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and 6 o'clock. We will have all the latest information on the wildfires, the evacuation orders and alerts there, as well as the latest weather information, even beyond the winds today, as I'm going through some of the 7-day forecast elements right now. So thanks a lot, everybody, for tuning in. We will see you at 4 o'clock tonight. Stay safe, everybody, and we'll see you later.